Hello and welcome to the Early Bird Special with your hosts, Carole Montgomery and Julia Scotti. And now, here's Carole Montgomery.
I'm coming, people. I'm coming. I'm still trying to figure this shit out. Hey! Hey, everybody. Oh, boy. How is everybody? Julia was going to sing a song, and I still don't know how to do the music yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. How is everybody? How are you? We are a week away from Thanksgiving. Woo! We're going to have people over. Woo! And we're going to... Okay, maybe we're not going to do any of that. It's interesting about Thanksgiving that there's a big movement. People are very upset. Very upset because they're not going to be able to be with their families for Thanksgiving. And let me just say something about this. Everyone I know is, you're thrilled that you don't have to be with your fucking grandparents. You know that. You don't want to hear Grandpa's story about how he pulled his back out in 1912. So all this it's so un-American that we're not able to have Thanksgiving with our family. And yet another reason, you know what? I was going to have Thanksgiving with my sister and my nieces and my son and my husband. And none of that's happening now because, I would like to live. Silly thing, wanting to live. So we're going to just stay home. We may just, I was at one point thinking we'd just go to a diner and order like a turkey dinner, but then this just happened. If you haven't heard, the New York City is closing all of the schools down. So I think we're probably going into lockdown next week, probably maybe after Thanksgiving, because God forbid we should miss a holiday. So, so that's what's happening. We are 2 weeks from since Joe Biden was elected president in my world and your world. In some other people's worlds, it was rigged. It was rigged and he won. So it's going to be really fun to watch at the inauguration. When he's like, no, I want to put my hand on the Bible. It's me. I want to be inaugurated. So, that's what's happening. I'm actually in a really good mood. It was a week ago today that I thought, I had to go get the COVID test, which gave me the great line is, waiting online for COVID is now the new waiting online for tickets to a rock and roll show. So you know how old I am. So anyway, I am rambling. I'm going to bring on my dear friend and co-host, Julia Scotti. Before I do want to let everybody know, because of the restrictions that will be coming any day now, we will no longer be doing shows from the Crane. I'm once again going to be leaving early to get down to the Crane and do our last virtual show. But as I mentioned to Julia, one of the things I'm thinking about, and you guys can let me know if you like the idea, is doing a StreamYard show. So basically what I'm doing now, but as a funny woman of a certain age. So put it in the comments, DM me, email me. Let me bring on my great friend, Julia Scotti. And Trish Nelson is in the green room, so we are excited about that. And let's bring on Julia Scotti. Hello, dear.
Early bird special. Oh, look, I took my tree down from last year.
Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I took the tree down from the attic. It's actually the real tree that I had last year, but I'm recycling. So it was up in the attic. I took it down today.
Oh my God!
It needs a little water, but I'm going to put an aspirin in it, and hopefully, hey, look, you see my Artie Johnson impression. Very interesting. Ooh.
I didn't know that aspirins also work for trees. I only thought it was for preventing a heart attack.
They don't. My mother would put an aspirin. She'd use it as a suppository if she could. My mother was whacked out. She would put an aspirin in there though. I think it does work a little bit. Tree gets a headache.
Of course, the headache. Yeah, and speaking of trees, we walked by Rockefeller Center to see the tree that they're going to put in. It was lopsided. It was missing branches.
I saw that picture. Was that as bad as it looked?
Yes, that's exactly what it looked like.
Well, how perfect for 2020.
Yeah,
the
really
Charlie
is.
Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I know. I know.
So has Jersey locked down yet? What's going on?
We're in various states of lockdown.
Okay.
We're Governor. I don't even know who our governor is anymore. Phil Murphy. He could have been replaced by now. I don't know. I don't know. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I've
Right.
got no life. I got excited today because I made barley. That's how my life has become. I'm like, ooh, barley! I'm making barley with. I made some cabbage.
Wow.
So I'm going to mix the barley and I'm going to put some diced tomatoes in there. I don't know. It's wacky.
You're out of control.
I've gone crazy, and I'm going to have a nice piece of salmon for dinner too with the barley and the cabbage. So there it is.
Very nice. And it's how many Weight Watchers points is that?
It doesn't matter because it's like a roto-rooter going to go through me with the cabbage. The cabbage and the barley. It doesn't. It could be like 1,000 points. It won't matter because it'll all be gone by tomorrow.
See, I used to love that. My favorite thing about getting a stomach flu was that you would have the stomach flu and then you'd lose 10 pounds. But then you get older and that shit doesn't happen anymore.
No, well, I can't say. I ate some chicken last night that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, I saw that post.
I'm pretty sure it was freezer burn, but there were some after effects this morning that were questionable. So. Hey, by the way, I have an article in Los Angeles Blade today,
You do?
which is a LGBT newspaper online and available in stores for Transgender Awareness Week. So take a look at it. I'm very proud of it.
The Los Angeles Blade?
Los Angeles Blade. It's a
That's
LGBT
fabulous.
publication. Yeah,
That is wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And happy Trans Week.
Trans Week. Well, the 20th is the Transgender Day of Remembrance.
Right. I remember you told me that.
And you know what? Normally I go to the. We have a little thing at the Paramount Theater in Asbury Park, and it's a nice ceremony, very, very, solemn and all. It's canceled too. Everything's canceled this year. It's.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said at the beginning, we were going to continue doing the virtual shows from the Crane in December, and the gentleman who, of course, was the brilliant man that decided to put the show in, said, the schools are closing. We're going back into lockdown. So we're gonna figure out how to do this.
But there is hope, Kat. There is hope. Can I call you Kat?
Oh my God, you don't know how much that yes, of course, Kat. It was always people always,
That'd be just our thing. It'd be like
call me Kat.
La Cosa Nostra. It'd be our thing. Kat.
Yeah.
We got the vaccine. It's on its way. A couple of them.
Yes.
We've got a sane, rational human being going to be occupying the White House. So there is hope.
There is hope.
But
there's 60 days till then.
There's 60 days of hopelessness still.
Of hopelessness.
And plenty of time to launch a nuclear attack somewhere.
Or just fire everybody that's in charge of cybersecurity. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like he's like, if you yell out at the White House, just go, hello. It's an echo now. It's just that there's nobody left.
No. Nobody left. It's
anyway.
Anyway, yes, let's bring on Trish. I love this woman, and I don't know if you had a chance to look up any.
I don't love her yet because I don't know her.
Okay, well,
but I did look her up.
I do, and we met. I don't remember Trish, but we met a while back, and she's a wonderful, wonderful producer, and she also came up with this great website called Banter Girl. And it's all pro women, and we're never in the same fucking city at the same time, because
is she in New York?
She's in LA now, I think.
Okay.
I am and because I love the way she produces shows. I think she's really good at what she does, and I'm hoping someday that we can work together where we all can make some money. So let's bring her on. I love her to death. Please welcome everybody. Welcome Trish Nelson. Hi Trish.
Hi Trish. I love her. Now, see, I didn't know her before. Now I do, and I love her. Hi.
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hi,
Good.
Julia. You will love me.
I do love you now. I love you already.
How are you in LA now, right?
Can you see me?
Yes.
I
Can you
tried
hear
to
us?
find light. Okay,
Can you hear us?
kind of. I'm a little south of LA. I'm in the Republican land of county.
Oh God.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
She's going in and out with me.
Do you have any? Do you have?
Is something bad happening? Oh God.
Don't worry.
What'd you say about her producing shows? What?
She's not good at Zoom though.
Can you?
She's going in and out.
You're going in and out.
Fuck. Come on.
Now we heard.
We heard that. Do you have earplugs? Earphones?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
You guys post yourselves. I'll be right back.
All right, I'd like to do a little number for my latest album. She gets too hungry to fall. Hey, dinner ready? Go, Cat. I like the theater, but she never comes late. Oh, she never bothers with people she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp. Take it, Cat. Take it.
I la 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 la. I don't know this song. Wow, you knew that. I'm very proud. Oh, she's back.
Oh, there she. Yay! Okay. And, now watch this. A little magic from Trish while she untangles her headphones.
I'm sad that my computer is not working well. I believe I have destroyed it.
Well,
You
we can
have
hear
it?
you now. Fine. You
Now we
sound
can
fine.
hear you, so I don't know what that is.
No, then she's going out again.
No, it's in and out.
Can you hear? It's in and out.
Yeah.
Damn it all. Okay, we're gonna move to the modem. Let's
She likes the free, fresh wind in her hair.
If I sit near the modem.
Okay.
If I am here with the modem, can you hear me? Is it
That's
better?
worse. It's worse.
Does anything work?
I think that's okay. Try it again.
Okay. Can you hear me at all?
Yes.
Is it working at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Now we're good. So
I don't know what.
No, she's going out.
Yeah, you're going in and out. I don't know what the.
So one of the key for you kids out there who are thinking of getting into broadcasting, can't stress pre-production enough.
It's the live show. The live shows are my niche. This I'm not into.
Yeah, listen, I have music, but I don't know how to fucking use it. So so we will figure it out. Still try to put the earphones in because that might help. I don't really know.
Okay,
but
we'll see if this works. The whole show will be me trying to hook my things in.
Boy, look at that, and the phones are lighting up. Look at the phones are lighting up.
Actually, that I can hear you better now with that.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then this is what it is. This is what we're doing now.
Hi, Trish. Don't move. Don't move.
That's all we have for today, Trish. We're out of time.
So where did we meet? We met through Carolyn Castiglia, right?
Yes. We met because I lived in New York for 12 years. And then my mom became ill and I moved back to California.
Yeah.
And so I've been back here since 2017, but was flying back to New York about once a month.
Right.
Up until March. I had to cancel that last trip in April.
Yeah, of course. And the show that you do in the graveyard. Can you talk about that? The lady show?
Oh, the Secret Society of the Secret Society of the Sisterhood.
Yes.
I started that. I started working on a show when I was working for AEG Live, called Women of Letters. And it was a literary show that I did at Joe's Pub, and then we moved it to City Winery. And then we ended up closing that down. And I really wanted to do something that was a female salon pulling together like multidisciplinary women, and do topical So I like, I have a theater MFA. So I was an actor for years, and loved the idea of like the theatricality of cloaks and like red velvet cloaks and candles and fog in a cemetery.
Yeah.
So
I love the ideas, and Julia, she's had, like, it's not just like she's had named, like, people have done this is, and it became a thing in LA, especially because didn't you do it at the Hollywood the cemetery?
I did it at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and I mean, how
Did you just sneak in there? Did they know you were coming, or did they?
No, I wish I could have just snuck in there. No, it was all coordinated. It was all a coordinated effort. And, I mean, how it works. Like, they didn't know me, but I've done enough shows that are on a larger scale where I could be like, well, here, you just trust me. It's going to be fine. And they did. And then we barely sold any tickets, and I had to really hustle. But we did sell out. We did. But you know how it works. It's like you end up.
That's very cool, though. That's a very cool idea. I loved. I did one show at Joe's Pub, and I fell in love with that place too. Isn't
that amazing?
Oh my God! I wanted it. And I'm recording a second album, and it's going to be this year. And that's one of the places we considered doing it because it's just. Have you ever been there, Carole?
Yeah. I was there to see you doing the show.
That's right. Yes, you were there. But it's a wonderful, wonderful room. But a cemetery sounds cool. I would love to do stand up in a cemetery.
Well, what's really cool, like we did it at Greenwood Cemetery, and I ordered like 5,000 pearlescent white balloons that we put LED lights in, and we just scattered them throughout the entire cemetery with like it getting closer and closer and closer. I love that's one of the things that I love about producing. I'm such a detail freak. I love, that we had like a DJ at the end, and we all danced out in the middle of the cemetery with tarot card readers and books for sale and art for sale, and it was really fun. I would like to do that on a much larger scale, and was putting together a women's festival.
Are you able to see?
I never record them. I do voice. Only photos. I'm into the whole, like, it happens in the moment and then it disappears kind of thing, which makes no money. So maybe I'll switch that around. But yeah.
But I mean,
we are in the age of money now.
Yes, but I do think that I think you really should. If we ever get back to normal, it's a wonderful idea for a TV show. Do you know, Trish? I mean, it really is.
Well, I do know. I tried to pitch it. I did. People came. I mean, this is what I hate about LA. People came and they saw it, or they didn't see it, and they wanted me to have meetings with me and have it like they were supposed to come, and then I was supposed to explain it to them, and I'm like, ugh, yeah, I hate it. But yeah, I mean, you did it. You transferred from stage to screen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, but I was really lucky, and I always say this about it, because the people at Showtime got the idea immediately. Do you know what I mean? Like, they totally got it. So it wasn't that LA type of, like I do remember, and you both will appreciate this, that when we did the first showcase, and we had a bunch of, it was major, every industry person was there. I heard my partner said to me that somebody said to him, "This is such a great idea. Can we do it with younger women?" And we didn't go with that network for for obvious reasons. But they missed
it. They always miss the point. That's what's been so frustrating for me.
Right.
I've always done live show production. I love the idea of transferring things to a medium that would actually pay me some money. Right. I like that idea, but I hate the negotiating, and I don't enjoy. I feel like the gatekeepers that are the ones that I'm having to somehow convince are just fucking stupid. They're just so stupid.
Yeah,
so
and I get it, because that's why I'm like, how did I luck out on such? The executives that they've been so great, because we're all so used to exactly the type of people you have to deal with. And I don't know if it's New York or if it's LA. I think it's probably that it's because it's LA.
Yeah, it's different. In New York, I mean, in New York, I really was able to well, it's just a different energy. Like people they're interested in thing. I feel like LA uses the same formula over and over and over again, and to like break out of that very narrow formula is very hard for them. But New York seems to take chances, and then it works. They're like, oh, Funny Women of a Certain Age, huh? That's the number one selling, that had like the most, I mean, didn't it have the most views for a comedy special debut? Like, well, gosh, that works. I guess women, I guess women have marketability after a certain age.
Yeah, exactly. But in all seriousness, not today, because I have to run after this, but you and I should talk about it, because I do think it's still a viable idea for a TV show. And, if I can help in any way to get it, it would be great. And then Julia could be in the cemetery.
I'm going to wind up being there eventually. You know what? If we do it at a cemetery up in the Bronx, my father's up there.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be the first time I've been to his grave since he died. So it'll be a good excuse for me to get out. Visit, yeah.
So now the other thing I want to talk to you about, which is not really entertainment, but I was thinking about what the whole thing with the restaurant that you worked at, and and I didn't really tell Julia about this because I want her to hear the story, but the ending was so great, because to see your picture in the New York Times, looking like Angela Davis with your hands up. So Julia's looking like, what the fuck am I talking about? So Trish, tell her the story.
Well, I mean, like most creative people, I worked in the restaurant industry for over 2 decades. And in New York, the restaurant company that I worked for was the Spotted Pig and Ken Friedman and April Bloomfield. And it was, I mean, my first year I worked for Jay-Z, putting together all of his Friday night parties, and they were nuts. And this like infamous third floor that was for VIP people. It was a lawless place to live. But as a working class woman, that lawlessness can become dangerous because I'm invisible unless there's something that is, the idea is that I'm invisible and disposable. And so that was something that was really hard. But I left them after 6.5 years. It was like a deprogramming. I felt like I had been in a part of a cult. And then after several years, I was enraged because the owner sexually assaulted me, and Mario Batali would grab me, and it was a part of the deal, which I, as a woman in my 40s, working in the restaurant industry since I was 14, just kind of assumed that, I mean, this is a part of the deal. Unfortunately, I'm a woman, and this is just what it is. I didn't realize. I mean, it's just like my whole learned behavior of what it is to be a woman it has been kind of blast open over the past couple of years. So we came forward. New York Times did a big article. Then we went on to 60 Minutes, and then the New York Attorney General reached out to us and asked if we wanted to pursue a case against Ken, and we were like, I guess. And then we settled that case in January, and we had a press conference in January.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah,
I was so proud of you when I saw that. I mean, because I know what type of person you are, and I know for you to do that it took a lot of fucking courage to stand up and do that. It's because it's such a horrible thing that they just assume. Huh? I didn't hear what you said. What?
Well, it's uncomfortable, and I think. I said it's uncomfortable because, and I think of your generation of women, My God, I mean, since I've been home with my mother, we've been watching Turner Classic Movies, and I'm like, what are these storylines? What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is she leaving her career for this guy?
Right, right. Oh yeah,
You know?
that was that. You know, it's my generation. You know, it's interesting because my mom was loved to paint and draw, and she never did anything. Once she got married, she had the kids. That's it.
And you know, my mom was a part of the silent generation. She was born before World War II, and I mean, she was a 1950s kid. She
Right.
wanted to have an attorney husband and make meatloaf for the guests. Like that
Right,
was
right.
her hope.
Right.
I mean, and she was a good hostess. Like she enjoyed that. Of course, the marriage was terrible, and you know, like none of it was real. It was just like the image of what that should be. And I think a lot of women in her generation had this fantasy of what it was to be a wife and a mother.
Right.
I'm just out of curiosity, and did you ever, at the time any of this was happening, confront them? Did you talk to them about it?
I mean, I did. People got fired. So when Ken, we kind of learned the silence. It was kind of, I mean, it's in our contract. You could be fired for anything. So when one of the girls that was also part of the case went to human resources, which was nothing. I mean, it was like a non-existent department because it's a mom and pop shop. She was fired. So that's how they control you. Like you, if you say something, you're done. And that's really how it is in the restaurant industry. I mean, that's been my experience. I started in the 90s at the Standard in Hollywood. It was the first Standard that they did. And, you know, you become conditioned to suck it up. Like I would just go and cry in the bathroom, and then I would give all of my tips to my therapist the next day. That was kind of the routine.
Yeah. But also, I mean, what's interesting about what you're saying about being fired, I mean, that's what's happening right now in this administration. You know, that they fired Chris Krebs because he went, no, there was no fraud. And the president's like, you went against me, you're fired. So that it's this thing to control you. And especially when,
except in the Trump administration, getting fired is a badge of honor at this point, I think.
That's true. That is true.
It's not the case with Trish.
But Trump is a great example because the power dynamics that in the restaurant industry, there are a lot of Donald Trumps. It's a mafia. It's like a mafia. You're either with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, then you're blacklisted and you'll never work in this town again.
Yeah.
And that's, but also comedy. I mean, I have like the trifecta: a restaurant industry, comedy, you know, entertainment business.
Yeah.
Womanhood. I guess that's like what's a quadrifecta? Is that a word?
But that's true because, you know, in our business, you know, I've been lucky because nobody really messes with me per se, but I know of guys that have, you know, blacklisted women in the business, you know, just because they didn't fuck them or they didn't, you know what I mean? So the whole power to control you. I'm not somebody that can be controlled. So when I see that, it infuriates me.
But I mean, you were a road comic, Carole, weren't you? Like you had to be in flop houses with some of these guys, but you had a baby and a husband. Yeah. Which is so interesting to me.
Well, the only time, and this is really funny, I always tell this story because and it wasn't even, I didn't feel threatened at all. So I was, I think I was featuring, I forgot who there was an opening act and there was the headliner, and I was in my room and I literally heard somebody scratching at my door, like scratching. So I woke up like, well, who is it? And the two of them opened up the door and they're like, we're scared. Can we come sleep with you? That was the worst that ever happened to me. Like, I was like, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to bed. Like you know, so I was very lucky that way. But I know I've seen some, you know, horrible things, and I've heard horrible stories. So for me, I always say this. I don't know if it's because I was married and there was a bro rule that, oh, she's untouchable because there's a guy behind her. And then I brought Lane around.
Someone owns her already.
Huh? Someone owns me already.
I
Yeah.
said somebody.
Yeah. And, and then I have a baby, which is the biggest cock blocker ever, because I used to bring him on the road with me. So, I mean, when he was really young, I used to bring him on the road with me. So, but I just kind of kept my head down and just kept pushing, like it didn't really faze me. Well, you're going to say something, Julia?
No, I we've had discussions like this on this show a couple of times before, and every time we do, I kind of get quiet because I think back to when I was living with the other tribe, and I think how much of this stuff I was guilty of, and how sorry if I did do that, how sorry I am, and really what an asshole I might have been back in those days. I don't think it, and it bothers me, and it bothers me to hear it now.
But Julia, I think that's one of the coolest things. Like, I think about this with the woman that was like the QAnon woman who knocked all of the toilet paper over or whatever. She destroyed a mask display. Did you guys read?
Yeah,
that?
I saw that.
Didn't see that. What happened?
Yeah, so she recently, this woman who was a part of QAnon went into a store, lost her mind, destroyed a mask display, and then a month later, after she's been charged for whatever you get charged with for something like that, she was like, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened to my brain. I've been a part of this group, and I think I just lost my mind, and I can't believe I did something like that. Like, I think that's one of the things with our country. The moment that you say, oh my God, I grabbed your breasts, or I shoved, I can't. We have to have redemption. It's a part of the storyline of the human
I
evolution.
was never like that, but I clearly remember when I'd hear stories like that of feeling badly, and really just disgust at the male gender, because I was like, what gives you the right to do that? You don't have that right. But in retrospect, and looking back, and I'm like, wow. It's very hard for a man to understand that,
Right?
Because you've lived this life of privilege, and so I feel blessed that I've been able to be on both sides of this fence and really appreciate where everybody's coming from.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with, once again, about males and power. I really do, because in the end, if somebody,
and I think that
okay, go ahead. What were you saying, Trish? I can't. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? She's not.
I don't think she can.
Can you hear us?
I didn't say anything.
Oh no, I know, but we can't hear you. You were about to say something.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, all right.
I didn't say anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, now we can. Yeah,
but I just think that when men get into power, they just feel the need to, just steamroll over everyone.
And it's I'm always speaking for me, but it wasn't about power, Trish and Carole.
She can't hear her.
She still can't hear us?
We lost Trish. Oh, you know what? Your mic is off. It says your mic's. You see the little thing? It says there's a little thing there. Oh, is it on now? Can you hear us now?
Mic.
I can.
Oh yeah. Okay, you can. All right. So something was with the mic. Anyway, so I just want, like you see, let's go back to the Trump administration.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. So, but with the Trump administration, you see these women who are like standing by him. And so what causes women to do that? Is it the fear of losing their job?
Who's that for?
Anyone.
Trish,
Anybody.
well, you could speak to that.
I mean, I think that. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I would say that for me, I just assumed that. I just assumed that my voice, because I had spoken out throughout my career, and every single time I was either fired or I was disciplined. And like, if you have an opinion, then you're labeled as a problem, and you just become conditioned to just stop. And I'm embarrassed that that's how I handled my life. I've gone through lots of therapy. Like, why would I choose to not be vocal about my own life experience? But it was not allowed.
But you shouldn't feel embarrassed, Trish. I mean, I know you do, because you're that type of you are an empathetic person. But if you're conditioned to do that, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, I was in an abusive relationship in high school where the guy beat me up all the time, and people look at me and go, how is that possible? Well, when you're 16 years old and you don't know any better, I stayed with him for 2.5 years. So you can't feel embarrassed about it. You just, and just so you know, Trish, when I wrote my solo show and I talked about it, I literally wrote the bit where the first time he ever hit me, and I literally wrote it on there in my solo show. And I got up from the computer. My husband remembers this, and I walked away. I didn't write again for 6 months because I was so mortified that how could I have done that? But
well, and I think about all those women who worked with Harvey Weinstein. Like, I think about Hollywood and all of the people who were leading lambs to the slaughter that were a part of this. I mean, it makes me think of like Jodie Foster and The Accused, and the people that were on the sidelines screaming,
Right.
The need to achieve what you want, especially for us in show business, we all want that, that fame and fortune. That's the drive within us, so much so that we're willing to do things we wouldn't normally do in a rational, sane world.
Right.
Luigi Harvey Weinstein. I mean, it's as disgusting as he is. I think if somebody said, "I'm going to give you a starring movie and you're going to pay you $50 million," I might, and I'm not, no pun intended, I might just have to swallow my pride and just do them. I mean, and I know it's a horrible thing, but at this point, I don't know what I would do, Trish, if it happened.
Yeah.
I feel like for all of us, like, one of the things that I'm hopeful about is that Funny Women of a Certain Age is a hit show on Showtime. You're a powerhouse producer, Carole. I produce shows. Every single producer I know is a female. Like, the people that I work with are women, and they're moving up the rungs of this process. And my hope for all women, like, I think about this. I've been writing this piece for the restaurant industry. We just need representation. We just need to get seats at that table, and then it changes the dynamic of the room. And it's not okay anymore to tell somebody as a joke to suck my dick, and you're in the middle of a board meeting. Or I have to tell you, I've been watching old game shows like the Match Game.
Oh God,
no, they're horrible.
How?
I can't watch them at all.
How?
Yeah. I mean,
like, cool. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But that was the culture. I hear what you're saying, because as a trans woman, we're trying to do the same thing. This is being Trans Awareness Month, moving up to where we're the ones in charge, so that not every representation of a trans woman is the psychopathic,
serial killer.
We're not all like that.
Wasn't there's a seat in the election? It's the first trans woman to garner a House position.
Danica Rome, actually, she's actually gearing up for her third term. She's running for her third term. I think, and President-elect Biden is using, I forget, there's a former trans veteran. He's going to be in the transition team. So we're slowly but surely getting into those places where people are listening to us.
Yeah.
So I may not identify with
it's great.
Your fight as a woman born woman, but I can certainly relate.
Yeah, but I do think.
But I think that
Go ahead.
you.
Go ahead. No,
You
you.
go.
All right, ladies, come on,
I'm
let's
gonna
not
drink
fight
my
here.
whiskey.
Just Trish is the guest. Let her talk.
I do think what you said about when you get in, like one of the things I'm proudest about with the Showtime specials is half the crew. You know, my director is always female.
Sorry. She
My
woke up from her nap. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. The director's always female. My stage manager's female. The warm-up is female. We had camera crew that was female. And, you know, even though my partners were all male, they got what we were doing. So, but when we were doing this from the beginning, I said, I want a female director. I want this. I want as many of the crew as possible to be women. And the only way we're going to do that is if we help each other.
Absolutely.
You know, this whole thing about you know, that women are backstabbers and like the Real Housewives, that infuriates me because I don't know any women like that.
No.
I've never found that to be the case either.
Yeah, you know, women
Well,
are.
and especially in the comedy community, like I feel like there's, I mean, of course, there's going to be a couple misnomers, but for the most part, everybody's like, hell yeah. I mean, people didn't get to see each other because there was only one woman on a lineup. So it's like, I feel like there's a real sisterhood in the comedy community for sure of just support and understanding. Yeah.
And I think also in the comedy community, and this is really important, the comedy community, male and female, we all look at other people. I mean, I've gotten older about this, so it doesn't bother me as much, but there's always somebody where you go, how come they got that? Do you know what I mean? There's always that, but that's male and female. That's just insecure because we're fucking comedians, not because we're women, because most of the time, the women I've worked with have all, you know, risen to the occasion. It's the guys. Like I remember hosting a show, an all-female show at the Boston Comedy Festival, and I said to the girls, I said, you get 10 minutes, I'll light you at 8. There was not one person that went over their time. Then I hosted a show with guys. Every fucking guy went over their time.
As a producer, I'm like, sometimes I look at the light and I'm like, is anybody seeing this? Who runs 45 minutes over their light?
Oh God, that's maddening, especially if you're headlining a show. I've had features do that where, you know, you're gonna do a 30-minute set, and I'm looking, and it's like it's 40 minutes now. It's 45 minutes.
The house lights are going on. You're like,
right.
It's so disrespectful, and it's very unprofessional.
Yeah,
well, and I think that it's there's something when the people that I have known in my life to blow the light by an obscene amount of time, all of them are people who have a substantial ego. So it's like, oh, it's my time. I mean, the comedy is like a narcissist's dream. It's like, what, me, my material?
Yeah.
So I think that but there's a balance. I mean, you're always going to have a couple of those. All of them will become famous because narcissists do. And
absolutely. Hey, ladies, I hate to tell you this, but we are closing in on the end of the show because I, of course, have to run down to the crane for my last show. Trish, I love you so much. And please, I'm so glad Mom is okay. She's healthy.
She's in an experimental treatment now that's totally blowing her cancer out of the water. I mean,
wow, that's wonderful.
It's a miracle. I mean, she's gone from the hundreds in cancer.
I saw that. That's wonderful. She was down to like 5. Or
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Circling the drain this summer. We were like packing it in, and you know, so it's just new treatments are happening every single day the cancer world, and I'm just so grateful. And I love you both. I do know who you are, Julia. I just think you're fabulous, and I thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you. And
I love you now.
And please give your mom a big hug for me, because I met Trish's mom. Where was it? Down in Brooklyn? I forget. One of those small little theaters, and I just love her to death. She's a wonderful. once I end broadcast, I've got to run. Trish, I'm going to give you a call because I do want to discuss something for the sisterhood. I think it's a great idea. Julia, I love you.
I love you too.
Hello, boys. I'm back. And next week we'll be on Tuesday, everybody, because
It's our new day. Yeah.
It's our new day with Jeanette Barber. Stay safe. We love you. Thank you again, Trish. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Trish.
Bye.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
No